I like. Hey, this is Big Girl Diary. Oh, let me back up. I'm sorry. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on what part of the world you are in. This is the Big Girl Diary, and I got a hot one for you today on this live stream. I have to admit, in my arrogance, I thought I knew something. I realized I don't know nothing, or as young people say, I don't know nothing. Well, everything is around the overturning of Roe versus Wade. It's just huge. It's huge. It's huge. It's huge. Now, when I first learned about it, I was thinking, "Oh wow, you can't run around and do this and do that and do that because you're going to be stuck. Women, you're going to be stuck. You better choose well." However, you live and you learn. Now, what it basically does is this: it takes abortion off the federal level, it blows it up, and it says it goes back to the states. Now, keep in mind, each state has its own individual constitution. There's a federal constitution that we look to. But however, each state has its own individual constitution. Having said that, each state would have its own laws. Now, Mississippi said, nope, abortion, nope, don't even look, think, act, or feel like you're going to have one. Texas, the same way. You have, not countries, you have states that already have laid down a law saying, okay, abortion is no longer federal and we had to abide by it. No, 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 no. Now it's up to us. Now, New York, I mean, you can have a full term baby and kill it and have an abortion. Full term baby, head crowned, and you could say, okay, I'm going to have a conversation with the doctor. Dad, you have nothing to do with this. This is my body, and I'm going to do what I want to do with my body, even though you did provide the sperm, but that don't matter. And I'm not being facetious when I say this. This is what I hear women say. Oh, I forgot to run the banner. Okay, there it is. Okay, okay, okay. So it's extremely contentious. Now, when people talk about abortion, they go to one of two camps. It's either political or religious. When these two sides are fighting, you're not looking at what's in between them. What's in between it is a constitution. We got to look at the legality of it. So let's not look at the religious. Let's not look at the political part. Let's look at what the federal constitution says. We must keep that in mind. Now, abortion came about. Oh man, I was listening to a lot of people, reading, listening to other podcasts that are way more knowledgeable than I am, but I most definitely did check out what they had to say and incorporated that into here. There was a case that I found quite interesting. Griswold and Griswold versus Connecticut. And it started off real simple. It started off with birth control. And there was a married couple, and then it became about privacy, to where if a woman wanted to use birth control, she could do it like the doctor, the husband and wife, and then from there they took it to court, had a fight, and then it was an act of privacy. So that's the start of it. Then when it came to Roe versus Wade, they used the Privacy Act of the Constitution in the Fifth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, the Privacy Act. So to where a woman would be able to get an abortion, but here is where it gets real sticky. It gets real sticky here because the Constitution states nothing about abortion. It states nothing about abortion. I don't even think abortion was even a word back at the time. But there, I digress. Let me bring it back. Abortion has nothing to do with the Constitution. Now, as long as you have the due process, that's all that the Constitution relies on: life, liberty, and profit. Not profit. Property. But everything falls on due process. Okay, if you want to execute somebody, okay, well, did you tell them that they had to go to court? Did you tell them that? Did you give them a letter? Okay, you did. Did you? Did they go to court? They did. Did they have a lawyer? Did the lawyer defend them? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, were they found innocent or guilty? They're found guilty. Okay, okay, okay. Were they in jail? Oh, okay, okay. Yeah. Oh, and let me see. When you strap them down, did you wipe their arm? Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Did you insert it improperly? Yeah, yeah. Okay, so process. They had due process. Everything done was the way it was supposed to be done. They attached it to privacy. So as long as everything is done correctly, then there really shouldn't be an issue. But the issue is it's not constitutional. It doesn't fall within the realms of it. Keep in mind, do not bring in the Bible, do not bring in politics, what should be, what ought to be, what should be. Leave it over there, leave it over there. Remember, Constitution. Now, let me see. I was thinking about how I was going to present this because I don't want to bore the kajibas out of you. I want you hanging out with me during live streams and actually hanging out with me when I do pre-recorded videos. Yeah, I do. Because Big Girl Diary. All right. So let's get a feel for this to make sure that we have a good understanding of what's going on here. All right, here, the amendment, the Fifth Amendment. Okay. Let's take a look at it. It says no persons shall be held for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless if a presentment and indictment of a grand jury except in a case arising in a land or a naval forces, meaning war and all that stuff. Okay, I'm sorry, forces, or in the militia, when in actual service of wartime or public danger, nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of the life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. All right. Now, where does abortion fit there? It doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. Sorry to say, but it doesn't fit. It's not there. Now, let's go back to it because it was I took the most. I looked at it and they had, oh my goodness, they had over 75 individual points. I wouldn't do that to you, and I wouldn't do it to me. I just took 5. All right. Okay, here. Oh man, let me make this like this. Okay. In Roe versus Wade, 1, the court established the right of personal property, privacy, protected by due process clause that includes the right of a woman to determine whether or not to bear a child. In doing so, the court dramatically increased judicial oversight of legislation under the privacy line of cases, striking down aspects of abortion-related laws in practically all of the states, the District of Columbia, and the territories. To reach this result, the court first undertook a lengthy historical review of medical and legal issues or views regarding abortion, finding that modern prohibition on abortion, which is relatively recent vintage and thus lacked a historical foundation which might have preserved them from constitutional law. Keep in mind, keep in mind, what we read had nothing to do with that. That right there was legal gymnastics. Legal gymnastics, because if you go back to it, due process and the right to privacy had nothing to do with that. It was about wartime, protecting yourself, not incriminating yourself, not an abortion. But I digress. Let's go back to it. Then, these are a little smaller, so we can get through it quickly. Come on, move that. Then the court established that the word person, as used in due process clause and the other provisions of the Constitution, did not include the unborn, and therefore the unborn lacked federal Constitution protection. Finally, the court summarily, announced that the 14th Amendment's concept of a personal liberty and restriction upon the state action includes the right of personal privacy or guarantee of certain areas of the zone of privacy. And the fact that, okay, you can't see it, but it's in my way. Okay, privacy or the guarantee of certain areas of zoning of privacy, and this right of privacy is broad enough to encompass a woman's decision whether or not to terminate her pregnancy. They had to do a whole lot of jumping around to do that when it states nothing about an unborn child. Now, like I stated earlier, in order to get this done, no, I didn't state this. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me backtrack. There was a lot of political and social push for an abortion, and the Supreme Court is supposed to be impartial and not subject to any public or political pressure. I seem to think there was a lot of pressure to push a specific, to give the people what they wanted, because you had a strong liberal push for abortions. And whenever I talk about abortions, because me, I'm in middle of the road. Do what you want to do, as long as you're willing to deal with the outcome after it. Because I'm pretty sure having an abortion, it does something to you psychologically. You just don't run around and have abortion and say, oh, okay, I'm done. On to the next. No. um, that makes someone soulless. And I have spoken to women that did have an abortion, and they weren't the same. You can go into it saying rah rah rah, but when you come out of it, it changes you. It really changes you, and you're not the same person. Just not. I have a friend. She still talks about who her child. What she even had a name. If it were a boy, it was this, and what he could or would be. I mean, yeah, it does something to you psychologically, and that is something that I really wish that when people speak about abortion, especially to young people, because they don't know, when you speak about life altering things like this, they need to take into consideration the psychological damage that is done. You're not going to be the same. And so when I do talk to young people, I'm like, okay, yeah, you're for abortion, but okay, what happens to the person psychologically? They're like, what? Yeah. When you take something from you and you take it out, and it was something that was that was a part of you. It was half of you and half of someone else. And whatever was going on up here, you are marching. I'm going to have the abortion. And then when you have the abortion, what does it do up here? The psychological aspect. But they never talk about that. And I think that is terribly disingenuous on pro-abortion people. You're being, in my opinion, so disingenuous because you're not talking about the psychological ramifications. You make it seem like that it's another form of birth control, and whether if you want to look at it or not, whether if you want to even it's still a life. It still is. And you're not looking at the psychological aspect of it and how people will be psychologically damaged, because people do have a soul, whether if their soul is turned down to almost minuscule, but they still have a soul. That's it. I'm off my soapbox. But the political side is they want to score political points. And the politics, look, politicians don't give a flying frisbee whether if you're for or against abortion. They don't care. They don't. It's all about votes for them. They'll come out and say, I'm against this, or I'm for this. I'm for you dyeing your dog's hair pink. I'm for it. Just give me your vote. They don't give a flying frisbee. They don't care. It's only when you care, they have to care. So, got that out of the way. However, let me get back to it. Let me see. Oh, and there was something else I wanted to bring forward to this. Wait, did I get all of it? Okay, yeah, I did. Okay. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I accidentally kicked it all the way out. Okay, I did not mean to do that. I did not mean to do that. All right. So, an abortion this is a very hot topic. You have it's getting wild. Politicians, like I said, even though that they don't give a flying frisbee, but however, when they get on the news, they have to care so that they know that they care about your issues when they really don't. But it's all over the place. Not only all over the place, outside of the United States, they're talking about it. Now, over in Europe, they are extremely liberal about everything. Very liberal. And they're like, okay, what are you doing? What are you doing? It's okay to have abortions. Don't overturn it. But oh, but it does. And I'm going to further talk about the states. Okay, now that it's not a federal law anymore, now it's up to individual states. Now I can't remember what state said that you can't have an abortion, and any citizen of that state cannot go to another state and have that abortion. It's going to get really, really, really contentious. It's going to get really contentious. Now, how can I say this? Okay, I'm just going to have to say it. It has gotten to the point to where the conservatives have been suppressed for so long that now they're going to come out swinging, and the liberals are going to have to really, really fight. More these young people, there are more conservative young Gen Zs. They're more conservative than liberal, and I'm really surprised. I talk to young people, and these young people, they're like, no, I'm conservative, and they don't come out and say I'm conservative, but if you talk to them about points that are going on, what they may have seen on the news or read in a newspaper, they fall more so on the conservative side. So I think that liberals, you push the pendulum too far. You Wait a minute, you pushed it over here so far, it can't go anymore. People are like, okay, this is way too much. You have taken it to the umpteenth power. Now it's starting to swing this way. And that is what you're starting to see. Now you're starting to see a big pushback. And they're pushing. I'm not conservative on all things, and I'm not liberal on all things. Me, whenever I vote, I'm all over the place because I don't just vote block. No, I vote maybe conservative here, liberal here, just wherever my mind is. I'm like, okay, I want, that's okay. Oh, okay. Smoke a little weed, okay, okay. Oh, yeah, yeah, blah, blah, blah. But having said all that, um, keep in mind it's not a religious point, even though when you speak to people, because most people, they don't look at the Constitution. They're just like, yeah, I know the Constitution. Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. First Amendment, freedom of speech. I have the right to say anything that I want to say, and I'm going to say it, not realizing that freedom of speech isn't free. You can say what you want to say, but there are consequences behind what you say. And keep that in mind when you start doing this, especially ladies, when you're doing all of this, yak, 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 I can say what I want to say. Yeah, the consequences behind that. And also, oh, I plead the fifth. Yeah, I plead. They know you're guilty. You're guilty. You're guilty of self-incrimination. Yes, you're guilty. But the average person is, you know, knows nothing about the Constitution, but just a little bit here, a little bit there. Like me. Until I started to read, I'm like, oh, this isn't constitutional at all. They did some serious gymnastics coming up with the abortion, to legalize abortion in the United States. They did some serious gymnastics. Oh, look into it. Just do your own individual research. Think for yourself. Look into it for yourself. Gather the facts for yourself and make your own opinion. Because I thought I knew it and I didn't. And it's not that I'm against abortion. It's not that I'm for abortion. I'm just for what it is. It's a constitutional document that went left. Okay, not love, no pun intended, but you know what I mean. All right. Having said all that, having stated all that, and having, I'm not even going to talk about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, even though I needed to look at the, oh, that woman is so horrible. Oh, she's a horrible human being. But let me go ahead and not go into that. I am sorry. So I'm going to wrap this up. In conclusion, abortion has nothing to do with politics, and it has nothing to do with the Bible. It has everything to do with the Constitution and the legality of the Constitution. So until we understand that and say, well, the God said this and politicians are saying that, and Constitution based on that. And if you like my content, please like, subscribe. My subscribers, thank you. Those of you who have subscribed since the very beginning and have not dropped me off, I thank you. Those of you who newly subscribed, I thank you. And hola from Chile, hola. And most of all, I want to thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for stopping by. Bye bye.